Okay, so what we're doing today is a little different. This isn't just an explainer, it's really an invitation. An invitation for you to become part of a movement. We're going to dive into a really powerful book called From the Ashes We Rise and explore how you can support the incredible women who brought it to life.
And let's just start right here. Take a look at this image, because this is not just a piece of furniture. As the text says, this couch, it's not just where you sit, it's where a movement rose. This is the red couch. It's where pain landed and was held without fear. It's where the silence from the state was met with radical care from the community, and you know what? It is the absolute heart of the story we're telling today.
So, you might be asking, how does a simple couch become a symbol of a revolution? Well, to answer that, we have to pull back a bit. We have to look at the world it exists in. We really need to understand the why that fuels this entire movement.
And that why, it's all wrapped up in this powerful concept called the house of violence. It's this idea that violence isn't just some random act that happens. No, it's a structure that we're all forced to live inside. It's built on these invisible foundations and cultural norms that eventually just explode into the visible harm we see all around us.
Okay, look at this. This slide breaks it down so perfectly. This is the violence triangle, and it's been adapted through a South African feminist lens. Down at the bottom, you've got the invisible foundations, right? Things like structural violence, so unequal access to housing, to education, to healthcare. And then cultural violence, those beliefs and attitudes like sexism and racism that just normalize all that inequality. And what sits right on top, the only part we usually see, the roof. Direct violence, that's the assault, the abuse. What this shows so clearly is that you can't just fix the roof. You have to dismantle the entire house. But here's the thing. In the shadow of this cold, violent structure, something warm and powerful and alive began to grow. A movement of radical care built by the community for the community. I just love this quote because it gets to the absolute heart of this whole thing. It says, "This is not a book that began on paper. It began in kitchens, on couches, and in long WhatsApp voice notes between women holding one another through exhaustion and laughter." You see, this wasn't some academic exercise. This was born from real lived experience, from shared survival. And that red couch we saw, it became a real physical space for counseling, for healing, and for organizing.
And what's so amazing is you can see how this informal person-to-person care grew into these incredible formal organizations. On the left, you've got the Bonteheuwel Development Forum, or BDF, which is a real hub for community activism. And then, born from that work, is the Women's Assembly Movement, or WAM, which is all about turning that collective care into actual political power.
So out of all that fire, a tool was forged. And that brings us to the book itself, which is wow. It is so much more than just a collection of stories.
And here it is, From the Ashes We Rise. The back cover calls it a living archive of feminist popular education. So what does that even mean? Well, it means it was created by and for the working class women of the Cape Flats. This is their knowledge, their experience, their tool for liberation.
And this is a really, really crucial point the authors make. We write not as observers or experts, but as women inside the struggle. This isn't some outsider's academic take on their lives. Nope, this is a report from the absolute front lines of survival and resistance. And because it comes from right inside the struggle, it's built differently, you know? It is way more than a memoir. It's a popular education tool, and it's packed with prompts for reflection and for action. It's designed to be read in groups, to be used in workshops. The whole idea is to transform individual stories into shared movement knowledge. It's a way to preserve feminist memory while also being a direct call to action.
And that invitation to act, well, it absolutely extends to you. This is the part where we ask you to join this circle of care, to become a partner, not through charity, but through a genuine act of solidarity.
So the question for all of us is simple, really. How can we help amplify these voices and keep this vital movement not just going, but growing? All right, so the first and most direct way to help is through the book's pre-sale. This is what's going to fund the very first print run. The reader tier is simple. For 350 Rand, you get a copy of the book for yourself. Or you could choose the Solidarity tier for 700 Rand. That gets you a book and it donates one to a women's collective. The Circle tier for 1,750 Rand gets 5 books directly into the hands of a community group for their own organizing work.
Now, for those of you, or maybe for organizations that can contribute a bit more, your impact can be absolutely huge. The big goal here is to run workshops that bring this book to life. You can be a supporter and contribute towards a workshop, or go all in as a patron and fully fund an entire day of learning and organizing for a group of women. And that includes 10 copies of the book for them to use.
Okay, let's just pause on this number for a second. 15,000 Rand. That's the core cost to fund one complete workshop. Think about what that actually means. It takes the words right off the page and turns them into a day of shared learning, of healing, and of strategy for a whole community of women. It's a direct investment in building feminist leadership right where it is needed most.
And here is the brilliant part, the long-term vision. This is not just a one-and-done fundraiser. Your support creates this incredible, sustainable cycle. All the revenue from every single book sold gets reinvested. It funds future print runs, and it allows for more community workshops. So your contribution, it doesn't just end with one book or one workshop. It actually helps build and sustain the movement itself.
Okay, so if you're feeling moved and you are ready to act, this is the most important slide. Here is how you do it. To pre-order a book or to sponsor a workshop, you can contact Henriette directly. The email is henriette@bonteheuwel.live. I'll spell that out. henriette@bonteheuwel.live. Or you can reach her on our mobile 076-378-3842. Let's just leave that up for a moment so you can grab it. I want to end with this quote from the women of the movement themselves, because really it just says everything. We are the hands that rebuild, the voices that remember, the hearts that carry the movement forward. By supporting this book, you become a part of that rebuilding, a part of that remembering, and a part of carrying this truly essential work forward. Thank you so much for listening.